Everybody here is selling a version of themselves. Rudd sells polished success, Marcus sells his loud brother story, and television sells both back to us as entertainment. So can real care survive once every private wound becomes content? The film keeps asking that question, even while making comedy from the same performances it attacks. And the joke works best when these people finally stop selling us anything, drop the act, and say what they actually need. Little Brother is a bruised comedy about status, family, and television. Its best scenes make the reality show satire part of the action, so the joke changes what people do, not just what they say. You watch success turn private pain into useful footage, and the damage feels funny until it suddenly doesn't. But the film has a weak spot. The same invasion joke returns too many times, and its uneven middle keeps circling a point we already understand. I'll stay with both sides of it. The emotional honesty that gives the mess weight, and the comic repetition that slows it down. Little Brother is worth watching, but it isn't smooth or tidy. Even the long final commercial feels like the film arguing with its own need to perform. That argument starts before Marcus ever enters Rudd's life. That argument starts with Rudd Landy, a real estate broker living under Josh Landy's shadow. Josh is richer, better known, and always seems one step ahead. So when Josh sends a casual email, Rudd reads it as a hidden request for help. He rushes toward his brother, hoping success can finally prove he deserves love. The film understands that need, even when Rudd makes it hard to like him. That need is exactly what NYC Hustlers wants to sell. The show recruits Rudd with the promise of a fresh identity. He won't be Josh's lesser brother anymore. He'll be a star in his own right. But before filming even starts, computer-written dialogue defines him as Josh's insecure little brother. Television doesn't discover his private wound. It labels the wound, then builds a character around it. The charity event makes that label feel painfully real. Rudd arrives in a world built from Josh's wealth and connections. Everyone already knows who matters. Josh can fill a lawn with powerful friends without trying. Rudd stands there dressed for success, yet he feels invisible. The joke is simple, but it cuts deep. He treats public status like proof that he belongs. Then a hospital call sends that whole plan off course. Rudd thinks someone is calling about Josh. Instead, he finds Marcus waking in a hospital bed. Marcus is a former childhood mentee Rudd barely remembers, but Marcus remembers everything differently. He calls Rudd the person he trusted most. He sees a lifelong brother. Rudd sees a stranger asking for a place in his life. That mismatch changes the film's shape. Rudd thought he was chasing a career story about escaping Josh's shadow. Now he faces a family crisis he never agreed to carry. Marcus's need is real, even if his version of their history isn't. And the cameras are waiting for every awkward second. The private pain Rudd tried to hide has found a face, a voice, and a way inside the house. And that changes everything. Deidre brings Marcus home, then names him Uncle Marcus. A hospital problem becomes a permanent family problem. Rudd can't send him away after that. Marcus is in the house, in the marriage, and inside Rudd's daily life. The wheelchair on those stairs says it all. Rudd is trying to move forward, while Marcus keeps becoming part of the family. Then, Marcus moves from the house into Rudd's work. He joins NYC Hustlers and becomes impossible to hide. The producers love the contrast between them. Rudd is polished, tense, and desperate to look successful. Marcus is loud, needy, and impossible to predict. The show turns both men into a product. Their pain becomes the hook, because television can sell conflict faster than care. Rudd keeps trying to take control back. He protects the marriage by pushing Marcus away. He fights for the property listing that might prove his worth. He worries about losing screen time and becoming the show's joke. He even tries to protect his public image. Every move makes things worse. Marcus gets a bigger role, more attention, and more power over Rudd's story. Success was meant to prove Rudd deserved love. Instead, it keeps exposing how badly he needs it. The house party brings that whole mess together. Fred gets help from Marcus, and suddenly Marcus looks like a hero. Rudd sees the room turning against him. Guests watch, react, and feed the cameras. Private hurt becomes public spectacle in real time. This is the film's best collision between family pain and television. Rudd could walk away. Instead, he attacks Marcus in front of everyone. Calling Marcus a stranger and a scam artist is the point of no return. Rudd's insecurity has become cruelty. Then the email reveal makes the wound stranger. Deidre wrote the messages Marcus believed came from Rudd, but Marcus's feelings were still real. He did not invent the need behind them. The film refuses to make him only a liar, which gives the scene its bite. The writing understands the emotion clearly. It also repeats the same control game too often. Rudd pushes Marcus out, and Marcus finds another way in. The show rewards the intrusion, so Rudd keeps feeding it. That pattern is funny at first, then predictable. Still, the damage lands because nobody wants the same thing. Rudd wants proof, Marcus wants belonging, and Deidre wants care to stop becoming content. And that clash keeps the mess alive. Rudd wears confidence like a stiff suit. His back stays straight even when everything falls apart. He uses a sales voice, as if every problem needs a closing line. His excuses come fast. Marcus misunderstood. Rudd had no choice. The posture, pitch, and defensive answers show fear before he admits it. He treats success like proof that he deserves love. Marcus works from the opposite direction. He makes himself impossible to ignore. The jokes are loud, the gestures huge, and the clothes look like a dare. But the actor lets real loneliness sit inside that noise. In the hospital, Marcus asks if Rudd is an angel. He calls Rudd the person he trusted most. Those lines hurt because Marcus means every word. Comedy and sadness live in the same body. His need is genuine, but it doesn't make Marcus harmless. He crosses every boundary, then calls the damage love. He turns each room into a stage because he's afraid of being left outside. The hospital scene makes the pain clear. Marcus remembers a lifelong brother. Rudd remembers a few childhood visits. One man sees his safest relationship. The other sees a stranger. That gap explains the chaos. It doesn't excuse Marcus's choices. Deidre sees that gap without making a show of it. She's the calm person in a house full of performance. She refuses Rudd's claim that the marriage is fine. In the wedding video scene, she watches the couple they used to be. Then she says, "I just want my husband back." Rudd wants success to prove he deserves love. Deidre remembers wanting him before the success. Her clearest answer comes when Rudd asks if they're still happy. Deidre only says, "Are we?" It's a tiny line, but it breaks his sales pitch. She doesn't need a speech. She needs him to stop selling a marriage that isn't there. Care isn't a reward for looking successful. It means telling the truth when the room gets harder to live in. Josh matters in a different way. He's mostly off-screen, but he fills Rudd's head. His money, fame, and approval shape every choice. Rudd keeps chasing a brother who barely needs to appear. That absence becomes pressure. It tells Rudd that worth belongs to whoever has the bigger house and better story. The film keeps Josh distant. We understand the wound through Rudd's behavior, not another speech from Josh. Mia adds a harder problem. She wants to help Rudd, but she pretends to be him in emails to Marcus. Her support becomes deception. Those messages build closeness neither man understands. So even kind people turn private pain into useful footage. Nobody here is clean. That's why the actors matter. They make the harm feel human without making it harmless. The fear is written on every body, and every room keeps somebody boxed in. And the director makes that pressure visible. He puts real feelings inside fake public formats. A home argument becomes television footage. An apology becomes an award segment. Rudd is framed through doorways, reflections, and other people's shoulders. Cameras watch him. Crews wait for a reaction. Guests fill the background. Even luxury interiors seem to close around him. Success looks less like freedom than another box. Marcus has the opposite problem. He refuses to stay in the background. His bold clothes demand attention. So does the medical brace around his neck. He turns kitchens, cars, staircases, and party rooms into stages. Every space becomes a chance to perform his bond with Rudd. That performance comes from fear. Marcus keeps building a show because he is terrified of being left outside it. The crowded public scenes keep people fighting for room. Bodies cross the frame, guests interrupt. Someone is always watching. The apartment conversation feels different. The framing gets warmer and tighter. Rudd and Marcus finally share one small space. They aren't competing with a crowd or a camera. That change matters. The film lets care feel possible before anyone tries to package it. The editing keeps that pressure moving. Arguments cut fast, with one voice crashing into another. Production scenes work the same way. Crew instructions interrupt private pain. A trailer turns a person into a selling point. Emails change what we thought happened. The wedding video gives Deidre a softer truth. She wanted Rudd before the success he treats as proof of love. Then the award staging tries to turn that truth into another clean story. Even the sound keeps reminding us that nothing stays private. Crew chatter runs beneath the arguments. Party music swallows honest words. Announcements make pain sound official. Then the commercial takes collapse into shouting, collisions, and bad timing. The film also uses fake images in a blunt way. A body double stands in for Marcus at the ceremony. The plan to replace his face digitally becomes a literal picture of fake reconciliation. The sets carry the same argument. Rudd wants to master glossy homes, polished kitchens, luxury cars, and bright event rooms. Beside them sit hospitals, braces, damaged spaces, and cluttered apartments. The clean surfaces promise control. The medical spaces refuse that promise. Even the final commercial keeps turning care into work. Marcus still performs. Rudd still gets boxed in. But the feeling underneath is harder to fake. All those choices make the film's argument physical, not just spoken. And that pressure is exactly what the people must decide how to live with. The show's best joke is how clearly it shows exploitation working. It doesn't just say television uses people. It shows the machinery. Producers feed Rudd AI-written lines, shape him into a villain, and plan a body double with fake effects. Then one producer praises Rudd's breakdown as useful footage. His pain isn't a side effect. It's the product they came to sell. And the nastiest part is how politely they do it. Nobody needs to threaten Rudd. They offer him fame, screen time, and the chance to beat Josh at his own game. Rudd accepts because success still feels like proof that he deserves love. Marcus's wild behavior works for the same reason. Beneath every interruption and outrageous claim sits a man terrified of being left outside. That loneliness gives Marcus's comedy its force. In the hospital, he recognizes Rudd as the person he trusted most. Rudd remembers only a handful of meetings. The difference is painful, but it stays funny because Marcus still treats the moment like a grand brotherly reunion. The joke changes shape. You laugh at his performance, then feel what the performance is hiding. That same balance holds in the award show reunion. It looks warm, polished, and completely false. The production wants a clean redemption, with private damage turned into public applause. But Rudd abandons the prepared award speech and leaves the stage to find Marcus instead. His apology is awkward, difficult, and private. That choice matters because the show has spent the whole film turning care into footage. Rudd finally chooses care without an audience. Deidre keeps that choice honest. In the wedding video scene, her quiet support cuts through Rudd's sales pitch about a marriage that's fine. She remembers the man who came before the success. So does Rudd, for once. His arc works because every failed attempt to control the story exposes the same need. He wants proof that he matters to someone. When he stops performing that need, the film has earned its best emotional moments. But the same choices that make the film sharp also create its biggest problems. Marcus invading a new space is funny at first. He walks into Rudd's home and acts like he already belongs there. Then he joins the show and does the same thing on camera. His confidence is so loud that it keeps knocking Rudd off balance. Marcus turns every room into a stage because he is terrified of being left outside. But the home, workplace, show, party, and commercial repeat one basic beat. Marcus enters, takes over, and embarrasses Rudd. The house party makes that pattern obvious. Even the basketball game feels like another public contest between them. The film keeps resetting the conflict instead of changing it. So the middle loses speed, even when the scenes stay busy. The mood swings can be just as rough. Marcus talks about abandonment, foster care, and psychiatric distress. Then the film jumps straight into sexual jokes or bodily comedy. That clash is clearly meant to feel uncomfortable. Sometimes it works. Sometimes the joke flattens the pain the film has just asked us to feel. Ambition explains that choice, but it doesn't excuse every weak punchline. Josh creates another problem. He controls Rudd's mind, but he barely appears. We hear about his money, his approval, and his decisions. We rarely watch the brothers fight through those feelings together. Their rivalry matters deeply to Rudd, yet it stays mostly inside his head. That makes Josh powerful as an idea, but thin as a dramatic person. The film also leaves Marcus's real life hanging. Where does he live? Who pays for his treatment? What happens when Rudd cannot keep rescuing him? Those questions matter, even in a comedy. The email deception is morally richer than the film allows it to be. It changes how we see the family, but the story moves past Deidre's part before the damage can fully land. And the final commercial repeats a point the film has already made. Rudd and Marcus are trapped inside another performance. The failed takes keep proving that public success cannot create private care. We understand that long before the scene ends. The joke keeps running after the idea has landed. That gap between what people perform and what they owe each other is where the film gets most revealing. Everybody in this story performs an identity. Rudd sells polished success, hoping Josh will see him as an equal. Marcus sells a family history built from a few meetings. The show sells both men back to its audience. It edits Rudd's insecurity into a villain. It edits Marcus's need into a reunion. Even the body double makes their lives look replaceable. The point lands hard, even when the film repeats it. Rudd keeps mistaking status for love. He thinks the right house, donation, or speech can win Josh's approval. But Deidre's wedding video cuts through that fantasy. She wanted him before the money and public shine. That hurts because Rudd treats success like proof that he deserves care. The video remembers a person, not a product. For once, his past gives him nothing to sell. The charity events make that mistake look generous. They show kindness with cameras, guests, and applause. The Big Brother ceremony pushes it further. Rudd receives credit for a bond he has damaged in private. The body double turns even the award into a product. But Marcus doesn't need a redemption scene for television. He needs someone to answer, make room, and stay. Visible charity is easy to film. Private responsibility is harder to fake. There's a small spoiler in this next point. The apartment apology matters because Rudd leaves the performance behind. He doesn't give Marcus a polished television speech. He admits he failed him during real moments of pain. In that shared room, they can speak without producers shaping every word. The promise, brothers for life, sounds earned there. It also shows Marcus's fear. He keeps turning every room into a stage because he is terrified of being left outside. That doesn't make Marcus innocent. He invents a past, enters homes, and treats other people's lives as material. The film can call him family without excusing those intrusions. Their bond is chosen, but choice still needs honesty. Then masculinity turns care back into competition. Crude jokes hide fear. Basketball turns pain into a test. Both men would rather keep playing than admit they are hurt. By the time Rudd reaches Marcus without a camera between them, the film has earned its hardest choice. And that choice works, because the apology happens in an apartment, not on a stage. It is private, awkward, and specific. Rudd doesn't apologize for the latest scandal. He apologizes for missing Marcus's life, including his parents' deaths and other losses. That hurts, because he finally names what success couldn't fix. That is the bravest thing he does. That private scene beats the fake award reunion. The reunion turns pain into useful footage, just like the show does. Rudd quitting the show matters because he refuses to give the cameras another family moment. Marcus still performs, but Rudd gives him a real promise: brothers for life. That promise isn't a cure. Marcus still turns rooms into stages. Rudd still treats control like safety. They haven't fixed their habits. They have only stopped pretending that a performance can replace care. That's honest and sad. There are ending spoilers here. The final Broker Brothers commercial is honest, but it runs too long. Marcus still performs in cramped chaos, so the film shows he hasn't changed overnight. But the joke repeats the same point. I give it 7 out of 10. Watch it for uncomfortable comedy and messy people. Skip it if you need clean tone, clean boundaries, or no repetition. And that brings us back to the film's strangest truth. Even its happy ending is still trying to sell something. That sale is still happening, because everyone here is still performing. Rudd once treated success as proof that he deserved love, but his private promise with Marcus reaches something real. Neither man becomes simple or healed. They just stop pretending that care can be replaced by applause. Even after the apology, the failed commercial keeps that performance alive. Marcus still plays to the camera, while Rudd is trapped in the same cramped show. That's the film's final judgment. Performed success cannot replace real care, even when the movie repeats the point too often. If those rough edges sound appealing, Little Brother is worth a watch.